Hey gang, Ryan Cozy here. Hope and pray that you're doing well. I wanted to give just a brief update as it relates to circle groups and a recommended reading that I would encourage you all to think about as leaders of circle groups who are launching in and perhaps trying to figure out what curriculum might we be going through as it relates to the fall. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the discipleship resource, and so I encourage that for all of our circle group leaders. But one that I think that is a great book that I wanted to highlight as we launch into the fall is Sacred Pathways by Gary Thomas. This is a book that really helps you to focus on intimacy with God and ways to connect with God. And in particular, this is important to me, and I think if you've watched these videos over the summer, like probably one of the more important outcomes that I come back to is intimacy with God. And that's not a coincidence. It's because I think that as we are more intimate with God, other things flow out of that. Greater community flows out of that. Greater awareness of our gifting flows out of that. Greater awareness of our grace story flows out of that. Greater concern for people that don't know Jesus flows out of that. We need to pursue intimacy with God. And so Gary Thomas does a really cool thing. He talks about 9 different ways that you can connect with God. And so I wanted to highlight those real quick. Number 1 is naturalists. Those are people that tend to love God through the outdoors. Sensates, those that love God through the senses. Traditionalists, those loving God through ritual and symbol. That's one that I personally connect with. Aesthetics, loving God through solitude and simplicity. Activists, loving God through confrontation. Caregivers, loving God by loving others. Enthusiasts, loving God with mystery and celebration. Contemplatives, loving God through adoration. And intellectuals, loving God with the mind. That would be a second one that I tend to connect with most. What I wanted to tell you this about is because I really think that as we launch into the fall, one of the things that I constantly am reminded of is mobilization. How do we mobilize everyday people so that in their going, their intimacy with God it flows out of them, and they can't help but to want to engage and encourage other people that are far from God. And perhaps God may use them to bring them into a relationship with God through Christ, where they have repented of their sin and they want to begin that new relationship with God through Jesus. And so that's super important to me. I think about mobilization as one of the key things for us as leaders, that it's great when we know certain things as leaders, but that true next level of movement in a region, of joining God on His mission in a region, is for those leaders to be able to drip feed this learning down into the lives of people, and that drip feeding compels everyday people to move, whether it's in baby steps of the faith or if it's in massive steps of their faith. Either way, just movement in the direction of progress is really important to me as I try to think about ways to facilitate leadership for circle groups. So I personally feel like intimacy with God is that key outcome that everything flows out of. I think this is a great book. It's not the only book, but I think it's a great book that if you haven't decided yet upon a resource that you think might help you this fall, can I just encourage you to prayerfully consider this one? If this procures questions or thoughts or concerns, you can always reach out to me, rkozey@thechapel.com, or you can call me at 631-2636. I'm at extension 227. I love you, gang. I appreciate so much your willingness to provide leadership in the lives of other people in our church through circle groups. I realize that there are other pockets of community in our church that exist in small group environments, but I also think that circle groups are really important. If there's anything that I can do to help you in your leadership, please know that I stand at the ready and I want to help you with that in any way, shape, or form that I can. God bless you, gang. I pray that the fall kickoff is great for you all as you launch into a new season of circle groups. I know that the summer is over with Labor Day kind of officially ending that and the school year kicking off. Please know I stand at the ready to help you in any way that I can. God bless you, gang. Be well.